Welcome back to Bahal Recap, where love turns deadly and curses don't stay buried. Today's film is Sijjin, a 2023 horror story of obsession, black magic, and a woman who turns to the dark arts to get what she wants, no matter the cost. But the ritual opens more than a path to love. It opens the gates to something far more terrifying. So stay close, because once Sijjin begins, nothing stays human for long. The story begins with a shaman performing black magic, using blood drawn from desired victims, corpses, cow parts, and blood-soaked intestines to fuel his dark rituals. One day, two sisters arrived, unaware that what they sought would open the gates to something far more terrifying than death itself. The elder, Yima, placed cash on the table asking for a love spell. Sangbya was confused, saying love matters belong to temples. But Yima revealed she'd fallen for her cousin. Without hesitation, Sangbya took the money and began the spell. The dark spirit took over the younger sister, warning Yima to end her forbidden love. Yima froze when Sangbya warned her, "End things with your cousin, or worse than death awaits." 12 years later, she transformed from a naive girl to a confident woman. Today is Garang's daughter's birthday, and Aima's family was invited. Determined to impress Garang, Aima dressed elegantly and slipped some secret flirtations, looking like a couple in love. Garang's wife, Nisa, suspected something but avoided confrontation as the affair had crossed ethical lines. Meanwhile, Garang's bedridden mother drew attention, giving Aima a chance to slip away and embrace Garang, who was smoking. They had been secretly involved for years. Recently, Garang's conscience or boredom made him want out, but obsessive Aima refused to let go. At that moment, Garang's blind daughter appeared, interrupting their talk. Though she couldn't see Aima, she smelled her perfume. Back home, Aima grew angrier, recalling their vows. One would never marry, the other remain unmarried. But 3 years later, Garang married Nisa, saying he'd cherish Aima forever, now wanting to part ways. Shocked and heartbroken, Aima couldn't accept it. Her sister urged her to move on, but fury blinded her. She stormed to Garang's butcher shop, demanding why he'd made this cruel choice. Garang stammered and refused to explain, which enraged Aima. She grabbed a sharp knife, forcing him to come to terms. Garang tried to snatch the knife but accidentally pushed Aima to the ground. When she stood, she realized she was bleeding below. Garang was stunned. Aima was rushed to the hospital, and only then did Garang learn she was 3 months pregnant. Tragically, the baby couldn't be saved. Garang didn't even offer comfort, instead trying to pay off years of love with money. The woman's frustration broke into tears as years of effort were dismissed as a game by the man. Garang's cold refusal wounded Aima deeply. Having just lost her child, her hatred for him flared fiercely. That night, the man came home exhausted and fell asleep without greeting his daughter. Time passed until midnight when Garang was suddenly awakened by her. Garang jolted awake from a nightmare where his daughter held 2 bloody eyeballs, begging for help. He rushed to Sophia's room, overwhelmed with guilt seeing her obedient. When his wife went into early labor, he didn't act fast. Their daughter became blind from nerve damage that might have been prevented if they'd reached the hospital sooner. After Aima was discharged, she kept trying to contact Garang, but always got cold responses. Aima spent all her savings finding the shaman, still determined to be Garang's only woman. The shaman's plan? Summon a demon from hell to possess Nisa. Aima couldn't bear the thought of her little niece Sophia getting caught up in this, but the shaman approached her asking, "Has anyone cared for your unborn child who passed away?" The mention of the child blinded the woman with hate. The shaman's ritual required Nisa's hair, blood, and a photo. The next day, Aima found an excuse to visit Garang's house. In the bathroom, she easily found Nisa's hair. While worrying about how to get the blood, she spotted a used sanitary pad in the trash. After collecting these, she hurriedly left, saying goodbye to her niece. That marked the start of both families' nightmare. Late at night, the shaman dug up a freshly buried corpse to take part of the body for the ritual. He killed a water buffalo, took its head and entrails as offerings, then the ceremony began. The room shook violently. Then, the shaman showed the woman's photo to his assistant, who mixed it into the dog's food. He declared Aima's wish done. Nisa and her family would die within 5 days. That night, while praying, something strange happened to Nisa. Nisa looked up to see bloody cow intestines hanging from the ceiling. Suddenly, guts and blood crashed down on her. But when Garang heard her screams, everything seemed normal again, as if it were just Nisa's hallucination. He didn't comfort his scared wife. Instead, he blamed her for making noise and disturbing his sleep. The next day, while sewing her daughter's clothes, a bottle rolled out from under the bed. When she bent down to check, she only found her daughter's doll. Holding scissors, she smiled eerily, then cut off the doll's hair and began eating it as if savoring a delicacy. That night, the man came home and the wife wanted to tell him about the strange events, but he said he was too tired and walked away. Meanwhile, on Aima's side, the younger sister lost her jewelry and blamed her older sister. Aima lied, accusing her sister of not understanding her, which led to a fierce argument that ended with the younger sister kicked out. Later that night, as Aima slept, her blanket was pulled away, and strange breathing sounded in the silent room. Aima noticed her sister ran into her room and tried to wake him to get answers. Aima rushed to the door but found her sister standing there. The woman in the bed had vanished. Meanwhile, Nisa prayed but suddenly felt sick, vomiting blood-tinged phlegm. The next morning, while her mother-in-law cleaned her, Nisa's hands uncontrollably covered the old woman's mouth and nose. Moments later, she returned to normal, confused and apologizing. When the woman left to change the water, the paralyzed old woman got up. Before she realized, the old woman poured boiling breakfast on her head, burning her badly. She collapsed, lifeless. The old woman's death plunged the family into deep grief. Neighbors whispered, blaming the Garangs for dark forces. Nisa hid in her room, devastated, comforted only by her daughter. But during the final prayers, Nisa suddenly went mad, overturning the corpse and causing chaos. The mosque's imam immediately saw she was possessed by an evil spirit. The demon wouldn't leave the woman's body, so the imam quickly recited the Quran to suppress it. Nearby, Aima gave a faint smile. That night, Garang was woken by loud noises downstairs. He quietly went down and saw a terrifying sight. People chanting around his daughter's corpse. The eerie scene startled him, and he fell down the stairs. When he opened his eyes, he was wrapped like a corpse, lying amid the crowd. Suddenly, his daughter woke him. He had fallen into a deep sleep on the first floor. The next morning, Garang sincerely apologized to his wife, now normal, admitting he should have trusted her from the start and vowed to fight the evil spirit together. He sought help from the mosque leader, who warned the spirit possessing Nisa was terrifying, used by black magicians and grew stronger with each kill. But the leader believed in God's power and gave Garang holy water to suppress the spirit temporarily. While Nisa was busy at home, she heard a terrifying noise from the bathroom. Carefully, she opened the door and saw her deceased mother-in-law in a gruesome, skin-flayed state, just as she had died. Garang had just come home when he heard his wife scream. Using holy water, Nisha soon calmed down. Garang helped her lie down and played soothing music. But as he left, the radio abruptly stopped playing music. At Aima's home, a terrifying scene unfolded. She smashed dishes like a madwoman, then strangely put shards in her mouth, ignoring her injured throat. That night, her daughter returned to find chaos, and her mother collapsed in a pool of blood, her neck pierced horrifyingly. It was only then Aima realized the tragedies might be tied to the curse. After burying her mother, she bravely confessed everything to her sister. But since their mother and aunt weren't related to Nisa by blood, how could the curse affect them? There must be a mistake. Nisa's grim words soon became reality. The sisters faced disaster while Nisa, tormented by terrifying voices, was broken and planned to hang herself. Luckily, Garang saved her just in time. He called the shaman home, but as Nisa's condition worsened, they took her to the mosque that night for an exorcism. Garang was told to sincerely repent to God for his past sins. Right after Changjao left, Aima took her to find Garang and confessed everything, hoping for understanding. But when Garang heard the truth, he exploded with anger. They clashed fiercely. Aima accused him of toying with her feelings for years, while Garang blamed her for hurting his family. There seemed to be no winners in this twisted conflict. Night came, marking the shaman's final promised day to Aima. To stop further harm, she chose to visit the shaman's house. By then, her sister had transformed into someone unrecognizable. Before Aima could react, her sister lunged with a fierce snarl and shoved her hard to the ground. Aima slammed her door and stayed quiet inside until it was safe. Peeking out, she saw her sister's lifeless body in the yard, a patch of her scalp torn away. In chasing love, Aima lost her two closest family members. Furious, she confronted the shaman, demanding an end. But he warned her, The pact with the demon was unbreakable. Meanwhile, Nisa, like a walking corpse, was taken to the mosque. As the ritual began, she lost control upon touching the holy water. People tied her to a chair and wrapped her with a talisman inscribed with Quranic verses, with holy water and scriptures. Nisha calmed briefly, but soon the lights flickered eerily, and Nisha's body shook violently. Prayers failed to help. The scene shifts to Aima, who ignores protests and rushes to the basement seeking the shaman. The basement had transformed, and the shaman was gone. Desperate and furious, Aima fell to her knees and let out a roar of helpless anger. Inside the mud creature, the evil spirit grew wild. Suddenly, the woman floated in midair while Aima's body twisted uncontrollably. The woman paid the ultimate price for her obsession. Meanwhile, the spirit raged, threatening Garang's family. Changjiao quickly sent his apprentice for his staff. As glass shattered, the woman fell. The energy stunned everyone. Nisha scrambled up, grabbing the man's neck. Luckily, Changjiao awoke just in time, knocking Nisha out before the man suffocated. But something was wrong. If Nisha were possessed, the staff shouldn't hurt the woman. Then Sophia slowly emerged from the shadows. Only then did we uncover the truth. The amulet Aima took didn't belong to Nisha but came from her little niece, Sophia. With a simple lift of her hand, Sophia raised the man effortlessly, then crushed his neck. Despite Changjiao's quick help, he died beside his wife. By the end, only Sophia and her comatose mother remained, until her mother suddenly stirred. If this tale chilled you to the bone, drop a like and subscribe. More nightmares await in the next video.